Well, let's get back to it.
Denmark has done a very bad job, very poor, with Greenland, with respect to Greenland. Very, very bad. There's ice everywhere. It's very dangerous. They should sweep. Brits look set to bask in a mini heatwave, bringing balmy temperatures for this time of year. Baskers. England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland will benefit from the warm blast at the start of next month, which sounds like everywhere to me. Temperatures will start to creep up on April the 6th, with highs of 19 degrees centigrade possible in eastern parts of England. On the following day, April the 7th, afternoon highs of 20 centigrade are on the cards in southern parts of England. Listeners in Glasgow will, of course, get their own weather. I could check on that while you wait. One moment, please. Hardly any point. I know what I'm going to find. Your call is important to us. Well, it's not raining at the moment. Can you believe that?
No.
It will, however, be raining very heavily tomorrow. And... oh, what? No way. Wow. Prepare yourselves, Glaswegians. It's not going to rain after Monday for about 2 weeks.
What?
2 weeks of not rain. I can't believe it. I've never seen that before. I've been doing this for a dog's age. I have never seen that before. So, listeners in Glasgow will get everybody else's weather. Much of the rest of the country could hit 18 to 19 degrees centigrade. That is on April the 8th. Unfortunately, the hot spell looks to fizzle out on April the 9th.
Oh, no.
That's in one paper. We're going to bask in a mini heatwave. Now, in another paper, looking at the exact same time, it says the following. Brits are bracing for a snowstorm that could dump as much as 2 inches of snow per hour, with the biting storm poised to sweep across England, Wales and parts of Northern Ireland. Maps reveal a storm brewing in the Atlantic set to engulf several counties next month. Snow is predicted to hit land in early morning on April the 8th, the very same day that we're supposed to get a mini heatwave. It will bring heavy flurries to the south west of England, southern regions of Wales, eastern areas of Northern Ireland, including but not limited to Belfast. In England, where the snowfall is expected to be most intense, data suggests it could be falling at a rate of 2 centimetres per hour. And I will translate European surrender centimetres to His Majesty's feet and inches. You double it and add 32 to get feet. So if it's 2 centimetres, so 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 32 is 36. Wow, any idiot could do that. There's going to be 36 feet of snow and a mini heat wave. Can you believe that?
No.
So just picking one of those reports. Saturday, rain moving across Scotland and Northern Ireland, sunny elsewhere. Sunday to Tuesday, fine on Sunday, fine on Monday, fine on Tuesday. Blimey. Would you like to know the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
Until the 10th of April, settled, dry, sunny spells, light winds, some cold nights, clear skies. And then the middle 2 weeks of April. Middle 2 weeks of April. Blimey. Summer is just around the corner. It's practically autumn already. It's almost time to hang out the tinsel. Middle 2 weeks of April, a lot of fine, dry weather. Any showers will be in the south. Temperatures are likely to be above average and feeling warm. Temperatures are likely to be above average and feeling warm. We'll take it. Lee says, can you say hello to my 10-year-old Charlie? He listens to the weather each week and as he goes to bed. And he's always excited to know what it'll be like in Glasgow, says Lee. Well, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. Richard says, Donald Trump has ordered that a portrait of him be removed from the Colorado state capitol because it is purposefully distorted, which means he thinks that the artist deliberately made him look ugly in the painting. Deliberately made him look ugly? It's merely an accurate likeness. I'm looking at it right now, as a matter of fact, and it looks like he's got a bit of Vladimir Putin about him. What's bizarre about this is that he has no idea about the massive security scandal that has been engulfing the White House. I don't know anything about it. I never heard of it. Nobody told me anything. But he knows about a picture that is hanging on a wall 1,500 miles away from where he's sitting that he doesn't like the look of. That he knows. And, by the way, that was crowdfunded, that picture, by Republicans who wanted a donation because Donald Trump's portrait was not on the wall where they keep portraits of a lot of presidents. And so they got Republicans to crowdfund the money that the artist needed to paint the picture. So that's, if he wants to complain to people, then complain to your own people, Donny. And James says, can somebody check if Marjorie Taylor Greene is okay? She malfunctioned this week when questioned by UK journalist Martha Kellner. Great work. Well, I don't think anybody needs to check. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not okay. I think I can state that with accuracy. Not okay on any level. Let's have, I don't know where to start, so let's just plough on. Slough. Hello, Sarah.
Oh, hi.
Sarah.
Hi.
Sarah.
So a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about I'd make you a T-shirt saying Vive la Mouse. Okay.
What?
So then it was
Hang on.
about...
Wait, back up. You said a couple of weeks ago you were going to make me a T-shirt that said what?
Vive la Mouse? Do you not remember?
No. Which show
Okay,
Which show did you call?
No, because there was a really cute story before my call about a mouse eating through a food recycling bin. Do you not remember that? It was such a good story. Anyway, on the back of that, right, because I am a trained graphic designer, I started thinking I'd really like to start designing some T-shirts, okay?
Right.
The kind of petition T-shirts, okay?
Yeah. In the absence of anything better to do, like a job or something.
But the thing is, right, like the Vive la Mouse on the back of it was on the back. Do you know what? It was me calling it about that AI video about Trump and saying
I still
how
have absolutely no idea what it is you're talking about, Sarah.
So, like, the thing is, you know, the whole idea about trying to I want to do the T-shirt range on Amazon.
No, I did not know about the whole idea about doing the T-shirt range on Amazon. I have no clue as to who you are or what you're talking about.
No, but Jeff Bezos is in Trump's pocket. So if you ever wanted to do a T-shirt petition
I don't.
Petition-y T-shirt,
no.
they'd have to align to, completely never wanting to slate Trump. Otherwise, you'll never get past it to be allowed to do it.
Right.
And the fact is that I think that
I don't
Trump
want to do it,
sorted out
there's that.
I don't believe that the shoot in the vizier was real. So if I did a T-shirt about that would never get through.
Sarah, you're already on somebody's list. I can absolutely guarantee you of that. I would close your curtains and turn the light out and never, ever, ever answer a knock on the door. All right.
That's all I needed to hear.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Sarah. I have absolutely no clue on this or any other subject, as a matter of fact.
Correct.
Jill in Glasgow says, 2 weeks without rain, how will we breathe? Through your gills, Jill. Through your gills. Pip says, good evening. There is a Brian here in very rainy Pennsylvania tonight. You know what I'm going to say to you, Nick? Yes, we love you, Donald. We love you, Donald. I'm your favourite dingaling. This is, not there is a. This is Brian here. Who's Brian? Who's Sarah and who's Brian? I have no idea what's going on, and it's my show. Simon says, as a person of a certain age, I feel genuinely sad about the demise of W.H. Smith. Yeah, they're not calling it W.H. Smith anymore. They're calling it T.J. Jones. T.G. Jones. Well, who's T.G. Jones? Is that somebody they just made up to make it sound like W.H. Smith? Because Smith, Jones, they're the two common names. And two initials just before. It makes they're taking it away, but also making it appear as though they haven't done that. They are just improving it. I'm not sure I would bother. I mean, who goes to W.H. Smith? Obviously nobody, because that's where they're closing down. I mean, when did you ever go to W.H. Smith? Except for something that you forgot to buy beforehand ahead of getting to the train station. Nothing, right? Anyway, Simon says, as a person of a certain age, I feel genuinely sad about the demise of W.H. Smith. I bet you don't. They were a staple of my youth, but things changed and nobody buys books or papers anymore, so it's no surprise they've had to sell out. I'm not saying it's the reason that they've gone bust, but they used to really annoy me by asking me if I wanted to buy some water or some chocolate when I went to the checkout. Well, last time I went there, they were giving it away. They were giving water away with a copy of the Daily Telegraph. I said, I'd rather remain arid. Thanks for asking. They should give a copy of the Daily Telegraph away with a bottle of water. They'd sell more of them. Miriam says, I have an idea for you. Why not issue a book just with your reflections over the past 4 or 5 years without the A to Z list? Could be a bestseller. What do you say? Well, let me think about that, Miriam.
No.
Sounds like work to me. I'm up to my eyeballs. Are you kidding? I tell you what, I went to Kew and Wisley this week, and the blossom is in full effect. Don't delay, go today. Well, don't go today, but go tomorrow or next week, because it'll be all over within about a week. And I'm telling you, it's an absolute sensation. It's so bright. It's actually hard to look at without sunglasses on, the blossom. It pushes out some sort of weird light. It almost creates light where there is less of it. It produces light that's even brighter than the sunlight falling on it. Does that make sense? Well, it doesn't have to make sense. It's a fact, believe me. And this year seems to be particularly bright and particularly, not verdant, that's green, particularly bulgilicious. There you are. Write that down. B-U-L-G-A-licious. Kath texts, I have multiple sclerosis, which is a progressive degenerative illness for which there is no cure. I was worried that I'd never be well enough to work again. Now that Rachel Reeves has said I can get a paper round or a Saturday job, I'm cured. That's good. I'm glad to hear the good news, Kath. And James says, I'm a constituent in Runcorn. This week, Nigel Farage made an appearance here with the candidate for the upcoming by-election. God help Runcorn, says James. Well, I think if God was going to help Runcorn, then he or she, sexist, would have done something about it by now. And Radius text, I'm Brian and so's my wife. Almost certainly putting him or her or they on a list as well. So all of this is going on your permanent record. You don't understand this, don't you? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you are on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
LBC.
Believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
Shall we start with something that's not about Donald Trump?
Yes.
Okay, then. I mean, there's not much that's not about Donald Trump, but this is going to be our life for the next, 8, 12 years, until he passes the crown down to his younger son, Lurch. So let's get some news stories that aren't Donald Trump related out of the way now before he takes over the planet and sets it on fire. We have to do it. It's just very, very important. More than 5 years after Brexit, ministers say they're in the process of determining which 19 safety systems required for models sold in Europe since the last summer are right for Britain. These are car safety systems. And more than 5 years after Brexit, ministers say they're in the process of determining which of the 19 car safety systems required for models sold in Europe are right for Britain. Shall we assume that the answer is all of them? That's because with our newfound freedom, we are free to do whatever our bigger trading partners say without being allowed any input in that decision. Of course, we're going to have to install everything that the EU says that they need in cars because we want to sell our cars to them. And we're too small a market to make our own rules. It's called sovereignty. Get used to it. We don't have to take a few little rules about product safety from the European Blooming Union. We have to take all of the rules about product safety from the European Blooming Union because that's what we voted for. And everybody knew what they voted for, as I have been told at volume about 1,000 times. The European Union's new Vehicle General Safety Regulation, known as GSR2, came into effect across Europe on the 7th of July 2024, whenever that was. It demands that all motor vehicles have a suite of Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADASs. And they are including, but not limited to, and they all have an acronym, ISA, Intelligent Speed Assist, ELKS, ELKS, Emergency Lane Keeping Systems, and AEB, Autonomous Emergency Braking. Not under consideration are the driver's assist systems like the SURL, Stereo Up Really Loud, the AFT, Always Tailgating Function, and the FAO BIMYLK. Fog lights on because it makes you look cool. And the systems that the Europeans want are the ones that will save your life, or the life of somebody you might be about to drive into. Intelligence Speed Assist helps to adhere to speed limits. Emergency lane keeping systems stop you straying out of your lane. And autonomous emergency braking helps avoid smashing into somebody. And yet, when asked about these life-saving technologies being installed in their cars, 54% of Britons who expressed a preference said they turn them off. Presumably because straying over lanes while doing twice the speed limit and crashing into a tree is their right, and they do what they want. They don't need anything in their car going when they do something stupid, especially in Streatham, where doing something stupid seems to be the local sport. No offence. And more than 5 years after Brexit, ministers say they're in the process of determining which of the 19 safety systems required for models sold in Europe are right for Britain. All of them. Otherwise, car companies will have to take out the systems they put into the models they sell in Europe, and they either won't do that or they'll charge us a premium for not including them. Are you tired of winning yet?
No.
Labour say it's looking at replicating the EU rules despite there being no obligation to do so, following Britain's divorce from the European Union on the 1st of January 2020. Freedom Day! What is the point of being out? Everything's more difficult, everything costs more, there's no fewer foreigners, which was the big promise, and we do what the EU says anyway. Name one advantage of being out of the EU that does not have to do with some meaningless sense of sovereignty. Anyone at all? And as for the complaints about being told you're doing something stupid like falling asleep at the wheel and heading for the oncoming bus, people complain about having to wear a seatbelt when they made that the law. People complain when they made it illegal to drink vats of beer and then go driving. Well, they're taking our freedom away, people said. This is becoming a communist country, they said. And then they drove home from the pub, through someone's garden, over a field and through a river.
Booze.
Buckle up. Sylvia said, not Sylvia's mother. Sylvia texts, I go to W.H. Smith to buy the Beano. Really? When do you do that? The 1970s. The Beano? Howard says, just turn the volume down on my radio during the first phone call. Yeah, well, I turned the volume down on my brain. Joseph says, in response to the text that I read some while ago that started, as a person of a certain age, I feel genuinely sad about the demise of W.H. Smith. They were a staple of my youth, but things change. Joseph says, ha, 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 I like that W.H. Smith, a staple of my youth. I wonder if that was a joke they slipped in there. Westminster, hello, Steve.
Hello, good evening. I enjoy your call, but I thought I'd better alert you to the fact that in attempting to help me understand what 2 centimetres of snow was,
yes,
you misapplied the rule for converting centigrade to Fahrenheit.
Yeah, centimetres
which
to
had
feet.
Absolutely nothing to do with the problem.
I don't know where you get your information, Steve, but centimetres to feet is double it and add 32.
No, it isn't. If you use double it, you have to take off 10%.
No.
Yes,
I refuse to
because
reduce the amount by 10%.
The correct formula is multiply by 9, divide by 5, add 32.
To get from centimetres to feet? Don't be
Yes.
ridiculous.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're mathematically challenged, but the point about it is...
I'm sorry that you're embarrassing yourself on national radio, Stephen.
Well, can I explain to you that the other area which you've made a mistake is that 2 centimetres is approximately 8 inches.
6 feet.
Is approximately 8 inches.
2 centimetres is 8 inches. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, okay. And you get there by dividing 200 millimetres by 25.
Right. Well, that makes as much sense as anything else I've heard on this show so far.
Well, I just thought you might find it helpful. I mean,
think again, Steve.
To keep me in understanding what it is you're saying, using this modern method of meters and millimeters, which was based on a French system,
French,
which was introduced by the common market, and finally the EU.
Right. Well, I want you to listen to this show. I want you to listen to this show with pen poised, ready to take notes, because otherwise you might miss something important, Steve. That shut you up, didn't it? Only for a brief moment.
I prefer to listen with my mind.
Right, or your ears might be a better idea. Process it with your mind and listen with your ears. That's my plan. Thanks a lot, Steve. Appreciate it. Howard text done that. Sam says, I recommended your fabulous show to a friend of mine. I told him he needs to give it at least 3 to 4 shows to get used to it. You can thank me later. Yeah, at first you think, oh, what's this? This is not normal. I don't like it. And then this has happened throughout my entire, well, I was going to say career, but can you really call it a career? My doings, that's pretty much part of the course. At first, it's like, oh, this isn't normal. I don't like it. And then you think, If you can burst through, then we'll become friends forever. Kath says, I went to Bodnant Gardens this week. Oh, blimey, I bet it was marvellous. What a gorgeous sight with all that lovely blossom. Like you say, blossom light up the sky, says Kath. I never said that. Not in that specific and precise way, no. But I bet Bodnant Gardens was absolutely blooming marvellous. Give it another month, though, and Bodnant Gardens will be at its very, very peak. Because they've got not wisteria, I can never remember the name of that plant, the yellow one, that they're famous for. But they'll also have the rhododendrons out. Now, it's one of the most impressive collections of rhododendron plants you'll ever see in your life. Bodnant Gardens, it's marvellous. But Q and Wisley are really having a moment. I'm telling you, go there next week and you can thank me later. No, wait. I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Thank you.
Let's have Saffron Walden. Hello, Jay.
Hi, Nick. I really like your alternative mass, so I'll stick to them.
Yes.
Were you talking to Ken Clark just now? Was it Steve from... No? He sounded like Ken Clark.
A little bit.
Anyway, sorry. I wanted to say, how are you today?
That's what you wanted to say?
No. I've got other things to say. Yeah, anyway. Bleach blonde, fat-built, butch body. Who is that?
Bleach blonde, what?
Bad built butch body.
Bleached blonde.
Blonde, butch body.
Bad built.
Yeah, butch body.
I've got no idea what you're talking about.
It's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just to say you to research her. She's been called by Jasmine Crockett last year because she was a bit naughty. So that's her nickname.
Okay, all right. Okay, leave it with me, Jay, and I'll investigate it thoroughly.
Oh, hello.
I mean, I know it came and went on this show in amongst the rest of all this stuff that's going on, but I am curious as to know why over half of the people that have these functions in their cars turn them off. Intelligent speed assist helps to adhere to speed limits. But another way of reading it is it helps you not get a speeding ticket because it reminds you what the speed limits are. I mean, you go past a sign sometimes that says 20 and you didn't notice it, right? Because you're too busy, trying not to bump into people on scooters delivering pizzas, which seem to be around you like a cloud of flies. Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want emergency lane keeping systems to stop you straying out of your lane? You know, like if you're on the motorway and, constant speed, doing 50, 70, whatever, it sort of sends you to sleep after a while. You start to nod off a little bit. Are you going to wait till you're asleep and drifting across lanes to put the emergency lane keeping system on? Because it will be too late. Or the autonomous emergency braking, which helps avoid smashing into things. Which bit of that don't you want? I don't get it. Oh, no, I don't like that. I'm turning that off. That's dreadful, that is. Oh, no, it's like communism. Wayne says, dinosaurs are being removed from the Smithsonian Museum because they're not patriotic enough. Their arms were too small to wave the American flags. Has he said the word degenerate yet in relation to art? Because that's on my Trump bingo card, along with a large list that's too long to go into right now, but it's getting bigger every day. Yeah, at some point he's going to say the word degenerate in relation to art, because that's what his I don't know how to describe him. His bedtime reading would have told him to use that word. Degenerate art. Don't want that. It's like modern buildings. Don't want those either. Everything has to look like it was, built in Roman times, because that's dictator chic. That is. Arthur in Arkansas says, I've been to London twice and Glasgow once, and never in my myriad of breakfasts did I encounter what the Thomas Company calls an English muffin. What's the Thomas Company? Is this yet another grift being run on the American people like Trump steaks? Out here among the dinglings, says Arthur in Arkansas. You certainly are. An English muffin. Well, in England, we don't call them English muffins. We just call them muffins, I think you'll find. English muffin is an American thing, and British people don't generally eat muffins because they're American. So I don't know where that's from. Don't ask me. Let's have Cumbernauld. Andrew.
Good evening, Nick.
Andrew.
Nice to speak to you again.
Yes, sir.
Just to say that W.H. Smith was never a staple of my youth, not up here. It was always
Mingies.
Mingies. And I wouldn't go into W.H. Smith again, because the last time I was in, there was nobody to actually man the till. It was all this self-checkout nonsense.
Oh, really? In W.H. Smith?
W.H. Smith, because this was out in the railway stations and bus stations. It's all...
Right.
There's a member of staff loitering somewhere, and I'm like...
Loitering? With intent?
Loitering with intent to not actually man a till.
Right.
And I'll take the same view of the self-checkouts in supermarkets until I'm getting invited to the staff Christmas party. I'm not working the till, no thank you.
Yeah, I find that incredibly annoying. But then the people who have to sit there all day long going, boop, 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 I mean, they must find that job pretty annoying too. I mean, just yearning for the day when a robot comes and fires them.
Affirmative.
Can't be too long now.
Yes, I would take that job in a heartbeat over unemployment.
Really?
Yeah, oh yes, definitely. No job at all, I think, absolutely sucks.
Yes, that is true, yes. But there must be a better job than to sit there all day long going, boop, boop. I mean, you must hear that noise in your sleep. I bet you're hearing it when you wake up. You're hearing it when it's not even there.
And I'm sure some of the staff must go absolutely postal every Christmas, listening to Noddy Holder 27 times a day.
Yes, there are worse Christmas songs. I could listen to Noddy Holder's Christmas song for quite a considerable time before I just couldn't stand it anymore. I'm going to say half an hour straight.
Yes, and then after that, sorry, you're
exactly.
checking out.
Right, permanently, yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Andrew. You're checking out and you're not packing your own bags. Exactly. Adrian says, bless Rachel Reeves. She's helping the elderly and the disabled who struggle to take their bags of shopping home. Now they won't be able to afford to buy bags of shopping. And David says, is the yellow paint you're thinking of called forsythia? What yellow paint? Oh, plant. plant, not paint, plant, is the yellow plant you're thinking of called Forsythia. No, it's the arch that Bodmin is famous for. It's a big long walkway under drooping yellow flowers. It is an absolute marvel, and it is justly renowned for that plant in bloom. But I can't remember. I can never remember what it's called. It's not wisteria, but it looks like it, except it's yellow. Now then, Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Jeff.
Hiya, Nick. Are you thinking about Laburnum?
Laburnum Arch is the right answer. Yes.
Oh, glad to help.
When the Laburnum Arch is in blossom and the rhododendrons are in, because they have a world beating collection at Bodmin of rhododendrons, famously world beating. And when they're all going at the same time, it must be one of the most fantastic places on the planet.
Okay. Well, I think we're 9 weeks into the space hopper.
Yeah, not remotely interested in flowers?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Yeah, I grow them, but, you know, they're all right, but I prefer vegetables. You can eat vegetables.
Well, you can eat flowers if you put your mind to it.
You could. The orange space hopper...
Yes.
...is 9 weeks in to his 9-year reign.
Yeah.
We are on the verge of invasion of Greenland.
Mm-hmm. He's declared war on Canada and Mexico and Panama and Denmark. Am I missing anywhere?
Well, he's going to invade everywhere, I think. So the end result of all this is that Germany has thrown out its fiscal rules. They've thrown the book out the window. Yeah. They're going to get 50 billion euros or 500 billion euros, and they're going to make it go. Now, I just want you to think in history.
Yes.
What the Germans did.
When, are we living in a simulation or is this real life? Germany is rearming and is going to send troops into Poland?
It looks like it.
And they're the good guys.
Yep. And look, they're on our side, this time. Mm-hmm. So that's the main thing to remember. It's the only piece of optimism that I've got for the world. Because, you know, Mystic Merthyr, he's given you a lot of prophecies which you have ignored.
Name one.
Over the years.
What have you said ahead of time that eventually came true? You could obviously just make it up now, but go ahead. Try me.
I can remind you that prior to the last election, I said to you that the Labour Party will only do our government better than the Tories. But they will be Tories. You don't remember that, do you?
Of course not.
If you're going to take power and do it better than the guys before, you're only going to process with the same policies.
No, that doesn't make sense. Why does it necessitate continuing with the same policies to govern better than the previous lot?
Well, they just have. They're trying to remain within fiscal rules, but they are operating with conservative or Tory policies.
Well, some yes, but some not. The Tories would never put VAT on private school fees. The Tories would never bring in a tax on landowners, which is what that farmers' protest is all about. They're actual millionaire landowners who are using farmers, or if indeed they are farmers, with their suspiciously spotless tractors to clog up the heart of London. It's not farmers that are complaining; it's landowners.
What's his name?
Non-DOMs. They've changed the non-DOM rules, and Lakshmi Mittal, I read, or one of the Mittals he says he's going to leave.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, well, we're missing you already. Not much.
Well, the end result of all this, Nick, right? I agree with your prophecy that before the end of the year, Trump will be using live ammunition on demonstrators.
Absolutely. Donald Trump will order his troops or his own personal army, the January 6th rioters, or the military themselves, to fire into crowds of protesters.
Yep, that's coming. Did you see the arrest of the Turkish green card student in Tufts University? It's on a number of channels.
No, it's one of a series of people who who are in possession of brown faces without the legal justification, who got swept up and thrown out.
Well, the arrest of her was the most frightening thing I've seen. Is the nearest thing I've ever seen to an Eastern European arrest on the street.
Right.
Where they all masked up in plain clothes, and they grabbed hold of her. She's doing a PhD thesis, and she made some comments in a paper about criticising Israel's behaviour in Gaza.
Right.
And in doing so, somebody in Tufts reported her, and they whipped her off the street. It's quite amazing. Somebody in the upper stories were filming it and thought it was a kidnapping. They thought it was something untoward taking place on the street.
Well, it most certainly was that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this we're only 9 weeks in.
Yeah.
We're 9 weeks in. What's it going to be like by the end of the year?
I don't know, but it just seems bizarre to me that if you look down the history of dictators, they all look a bit weird. I mean, almost all of them have something strange about them. They either got weird facial hair, or they got a funny haircut, or they dress odd, or they just look a bit, like they've been picked on it, like they were picked on in school and have been determined to get back at the world ever since. And Donald Trump fits the bill. Absolutely. Yep. I mean, the guy is weird from the top of whatever that thing that's floating on top of his head is.
I don't wear a toupee.
Right down to his the lifts in his shoes.
Don't be rude.
Yep. This is dictatorship. I know we're laughing about it.
Yeah, it's not funny, though. It is a dictatorship, and America just got taken over by a painted clown off the telly.
Yep.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I always thought Billy Smart was dead, but obviously he's set up again in the White House.
Yeah, and he'll be coming to a location near you soon, Jeff. All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
What's he got to be depressed about?
Well, where do I even begin? Craig emails, I saw Princess Anne on TV today. It looks like President Trump is trying to copy her hairstyle. Well, I haven't seen Princess Anne in a good long while, so I'm going to have to investigate further. Redbridge, hello, Hussein.
Hiya, Nick.
Hussein.
Good evening. Just wanted to talk to you about the technology they were mentioning earlier.
Oh, yes, the car safety systems.
Yeah. So basically, I usually drive an old Lexus, right, without any of those new tech. This is not that old, it's 2014. And then for about a couple of months, I rented the electric car. Now, the car had all these features, the going on the other lane, it would start shaking, the car will alert you basically, reading the signs and the emergency brake that you mentioned. So reading the sign, very helpful thing. Sometimes you're focusing, and obviously a lot of the roads in London, they keep changing from 30 to 20, from 40 to 30. So,
I know, hard to keep up.
Yeah, so that's very helpful. So the other thing, I think the reason majority of the people, they don't like technology. So, for example, most people, maybe in their late 30s or late 40s, we all used to those, cars, they didn't have those technologies. So you are kind of very responsible where you're going. Obviously, there's certain people speeding and all that, but majority of the people, they know what they're doing. So while I was driving...
I don't know. Go on.
Well, listen, while I was driving, a couple of the times, I'm not even going to the other lane, but the car starts like alerting you all of a sudden, and you feel like something just went wrong, like, because you are... So the car, basically what it is the car tries to control you. You're not controlling the car. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So... Couple of the times.
Well, no, surely the car doesn't take control. It's just suggesting that you might want to pay attention to the following.
I think you are right, but sometimes, it's just, it kind of puts you in a panic mode, like the way the wheel start moving on its own,
right,
and then, like, bringing you back to the center of the line, like, there's, know what I mean? Like,
well, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it actually took charge and put you back in the lane, really?
That's right, yeah, that's what it does, because the whole system is to obviously keep you in a safer position on the road, you see what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So, talking about emergency
but
brakes...
hang on a minute. Suppose you're dodging a pothole.
That's right, yeah. So the car will automatically then, the steering will automatically, let's say you are going a bit further on the right, the steering will automatically then try to get you back on, it will go left. So you're thinking, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? Like, it will shook you a little bit.
So can you, like, wrestle back control? Because if I'm trying to dodge a pothole, then I'll go to the left or the right as necessary. And you're telling me that the thing on the car will stop me doing that? So I head face first right into that gigantic hole, that cavern in the road?
Yes, that's right, yeah. So you can obviously... So there are 3 different levels. So most of the cars have... Literally, it will just alert you, as in it will just make a little beep sound.
Yeah.
Or then they've got medium, and
like
then the one... Yeah, that's right, yeah. And the one very high means that the steering wheel will take control. And the most annoying one for me is the emergency brake. So what it does is, there's a car in front of you. You are in complete control of the car. You know where to brake, where to slow down. The car automatically assumes you're going to hit the car when there's quite a bit of distance. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're definitely not going to hit the car. Okay?
So
that's not gonna happen.
you're saying your car is treating you like a moron?
That's right, yeah. Pretty much. Because what happened, I was with my family a few times under Blackwall Tunnel, right? You know that place is always congested.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been there. It's always, very bad traffic. So the car literally just did emergency brake, thinking I'm going to hit the car in front of me.
Yeah.
And obviously what happens is every time you start the car, all those settings automatically by default they're on. So you have to physically switch them off.
Right.
So, for example, if you are not used to driving all these modern cars and whatnot, and you are literally driving, and all of a sudden, because to me, I feel like that's going to cause a bigger accident than in a general driving, because all of a sudden the car will stop on its own, and you could have a car behind you.
Is it possible, Hussein, that you're just a very, very bad driver?
I don't think so, no.
No man on earth would answer that question in the affirmative. Not one.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to say I'm the best driver, and I wouldn't say I'm the worst driver. But I think generally, if there's any other listeners they're listening, they might, and they had the same experience. I would ask them to call you and share their experience, because for me, it was quite bizarre, because the car is taking, especially the emergency brake, because all of a sudden it's literally stopping the car. Like, for example, you are not even, you could have a family in the back, or your your partner or whatever, or whoever's in the back, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, what happened?
They're probably thinking that's just Hussein's driving. Again.
So they would actually blame me, to be honest. That's right, yeah.
Yeah. All right, thanks for letting us know, Hussein. That's robots taking over.
Affirmative.
Yeah, resist. Or let them do their thing. Ditex, I can't wait for Friday in the Nick Abbot Show. Uniquely uplifting, just like a crossover bra.
Disgusting.
Oh. Kirsty says, please say hello to my lovely friend Thomas, who is well over 100 years old. And another thing, he must be your oldest listener, right? Says Kirsty. Well, I don't know, Kirsty. It's impossible for me to tell. It's not the... I can't... You can hear me, but I can't hear you. I can see you, though. Rochester, Lulu.
That sounds creepy, Nick.
Yeah, really creepy. Yeah, I creep myself out. Yeah, spooky.
Hey, you know, Nick, you say about this car safety thing, why don't people want to embrace it?
Yes.
Well, it's because morons. We're surrounded by morons.
That's right. That's what it's a moron prevention kit.
The stupidification of the... Is that the word?
Stupidification of this once great nation continues apace, yes.
It continues apace, thank you. Nick, I don't like W.H. Smith. I never have.
It's a bit depressing, isn't it? It's a bit grey. I think their colours are grey and red, aren't they? Who chose that?
I tell you, every time I walk past a W.H. Smith, I lose the will to live. It just makes me inexplicably depressed.
Yeah, it's almost as depressing as Ryman's.
Oh, right. I used to work for Ryman many years ago.
Maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe Ryman's is grey and red. Isn't that their colours? Their corporate colours, grey and red?
Oh, do you know, that's coming back to me.
I think that sounds about right, yeah. Why would anybody choose grey and red as their corporate colours? That just is mystifying.
I know.
Yeah.
And I tell you, you go in... So the last time I was in a W.H. Smith was in 2018. I was looking for a notebook. Could I get a notebook? No, I couldn't.
You couldn't get a notebook in W.H. Smith?
No. Not at all.
But that's when notebooks live in W.H. Smith.
You would think so, right? You would think so. And since they got rid of Staples, which was a great store, I mean, it was a warehouse. It was, very bare and austere, but you could get anything in the world you needed in the stationery department, couldn't you?
I don't know. I've never been there. I've never even heard of it. Staples.
Staples? Do you not know Staples?
No.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was a big kind of stationery warehouse.
I doubt that's true. You're not describing anything that sounds fantastic. A stationery warehouse. Not fantastic. It's more... boring. It's more boring than fantastic.
It depends how much you love pens.
Well, that is true.
Some of us love pens, right?
Well, I used to love a pen to buy my new pen collection for the new school year. That was always quite exciting. A new pen, new pencil... A new pad, and you get a pencil sharpener and a rubber, all those things.
I loved all that. I am a big stationery fan. But anyway, W.H. Smith, no. And also, you want to go and buy a book. Forget about buying any kind of...
I don't.
Yeah, well, I do. But, you don't even go there to try and find some sort of intelligent book. You've got autobiographies by Katie Price and,
Well, they've got the top 20, I would imagine. I mean, it's not a blooming library. They've just got the most popular books on sale at that moment, I would imagine.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something. T.G. Jones sounds very American to me, so I will not go there even more so than I didn't go there before.
Even if you really needed something there, you'd refuse to go just on principle.
I would. Yeah. I'm boycotting America on every possible level.
Okay. Right. You, me, and everybody I know. Yeah.
Good.
All right. Keep fighting the fight, Lulu. Eventually we'll probably lose anyway, but, just don't think of it. Cheers, my dear. Phil says, some presenter bloke on Radio 4 this morning said mostly after the weather forecast was completed. I suspect you have a fan from the other side. Well, from the dark side. And Martin says, a little birdie told me that Rachel Reeves has reclassified cars for export as steels on wheels. They're not cars. Steels on wheels. Not Steelers Wheel. Because that's a band, Fae Scotland. They did Fergusley Park, which is a marvellous record, and every home should have a copy.
Rock and roll!
Not Steelers Wheel, Steels on Wheels. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. If you are on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Well, let's see now. I think I'll be talking to a person in St Albans called Alex. Alex.
Nick, hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Alex.
You mentioned something about Trump and mentioning degenerate art.
Yes.
and just how, to paraphrase, it's sort of sliding towards this situation which sort of seems a bit familiar.
Yes.
And I've just finished reading a book which I'm not going to ask you to read it. It's called A Village in the Third Reich, and it's just an interesting insight into how it's hard to describe. It's how people put up with the most awful things while the world around them became more and more right-wing fascist. And reading it sort of feels a little bit like we're going through it again. We're repeating history. It's a bit depressing. I don't want to bring the tone down on the show.
And yet you have.
I apologise. But
it is depressing. It's absolutely remarkable how easy it's been for a painted clown off the TV, a person who has failed at pretty much everything he's ever done apart from convince people that he's a success. That's about the only thing that he has been a success at, convincing people that he's a success. Whereas he obviously isn't. The list of his failed businesses would be too long to read in a brief 3-hour show. But
why are we putting up with it?
Why are we putting up with it? Well, it's been foisted upon us, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Stupid Americans, no offence, voted for him not once but twice. Now, I'm not saying that they are stupider than us, because it is entirely likely that we will vote for people that... We voted for Brexit. That's not in our interest. It's actively against our best interest. So we're stupid too. I mean, there's just no end of stupid. Stupid's everywhere. We're surrounded by morons. But it's just astonishing to me how a painted blowhard like that, some guy who dances to YMCA while wearing full face makeup, and I've got no idea what that thing is on top of his head. I just don't know. But I do know that it's getting thinner, because you can see the top of his head now, and he didn't used to be able to.
You see the sun's reflection.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's just been extraordinarily easy for him. He just came in, and everybody just fell to the floor in front of him and started kissing the ground that he walked on, and that was it. Job done.
Yeah, it's bewildering. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
I know you keep up with, I think you mentioned that you keep up with people like Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel from over in the States.
Not those two. No, I don't get whatever channel they're on. I don't get that. I mean, I see clips every now
YouTube.
And again.
Yeah. There was an excellent clip the other day with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who she attacked a BBC News reporter.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So did you see the follow-up that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, you're English, or paraphrasing again, you're English, your voice doesn't count here, I want to speak to an American reporter.
Yeah.
So an American reporter pipes up and says, I'm an American reporter, I want you to answer the question that the BBC reporter just put to you. And she went a shade of puce.
It's about time, because I've always thought that journalists should stick together. I mean, I know they're in competition with each other, but at some points they have to stick together for the benefit of all. And when Trump or Marjorie Taylor Greene or one of those other wingnuts, they refuse to answer a question from a journalist, then the next journalist should just ask that question again.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Anyway,
all right.
Thank you, Nick.
Good work. Thanks a lot, Alex. Cheers, mate. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Carlos emails, I've been in Europe for the last few days as my car has DAB radio and it doesn't work in Europe. I've been listening to FM stations. I am shocked, says Carlos. They allow swearing in the day, and all of the songs which would be censored in the UK are played in their fullest. The effing and jeffing is amazing. I found the Belgium stations to be very good at the cuss words. It's Carlos.
Disgusting.
Really? Well, maybe it's they don't speak English very well, so they don't know what they're doing. Possible. And Eric says, English muffins are just crumpets cooked on both sides. No, they aren't. A muffin is not a crumpet, Eric. Believe that. Fulham. Hang on a minute. There it is. Ray. Hello, Ray.
Hello.
Ray.
You said earlier about the Trump wanting to take over Greenland and Denmark under American control, right?
Yeah.
How would you feel if he wants to take over God and heaven under American control?
How would I feel?
Yeah.
I would like to see him try.
Yeah. And I think he wants to take over everything. I think he's doing a Putin.
Yes, I think that you've spotted that one well, Ray.
Yeah. It's the first time I phoned up, so I wish you and your colleagues good health and all the listeners that phone you up.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you, Ray.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Radius says, here's one for your Trump bingo card. He'll host an international summit and only invite leaders from authoritarian regimes. I'll go one louder. He'll have a military parade and only invite leaders from authoritarian regimes. York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. I'm trying to ignore all the bad news that's around at the moment.
Yes. I have good news about that, by the way, about ignoring bad news. Yes, very, very good news. But carry on and I'll find it.
Right. Well, spring has sprung.
All over
the weather's
us.
good.
Yes.
The clocks are going forward.
Oh, that's right. The clocks are going forward. Isn't it marvellous? It'll be almost 7 o'clock and it'll still be light out.
So let's enjoy it while we can, eh?
Yes.
And forget all about this bad news.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, we have to stop doom scrolling and just spending the entire day with our heads in our hands wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah. So what have you got? You said you got some good news?
Yeah, I have, but I'll get into that when we finished our conversation.
All right.
So have you been out there looking at the blossom yet?
I've been in the garden.
Yes.
Doing a bit of pruning.
Ah.
I think I've strained my back, but I won't complain. Yeah.
Pruning? Strained your back? What are you pruning? Trees?
No, it was a euonymus. It was a bit tall, and I was trying to stretch up and reach,
Oh, you don't want to do that, Jan. You might strain your back.
I know, I have done. It hurts.
Right.
But never mind about that.
Well, you should have called me earlier. I'll set you straight.
No. It has been lovely, hasn't it?
Oh, it has been marvellous, yes. And it will continue to be so if you believe one newspaper. And if you read another one, it says it won't. One newspaper, at the beginning of the show, and I'm not making it up, the two papers, they were talking about the exact same time frame, towards the end of the first week in April, and one said we're going to have a mini heat wave, and the other said it's going to be 2 centimetres of snow an hour.
I know, it's crackers, isn't it? How did they get it so different?
I don't know. It seems bizarre.
I know.
But there it is. Can't believe a word anybody says anymore.
Something else to look forward to, Easter. But I know you don't like Easter, do you?
No, Easter's annoying. I mean,
no, it isn't.
It is. It really is. Everything closes for like 2 weeks. You can't get hold of anybody for about 2 weeks around Easter. The shops close unnecessarily early, or they just close entirely for the whole day, like 2 days in a row. You go to the supermarket and people are just going berserk. It's like the end of the world in there. People are stocking up for with all of their provisions that they need to get them to Christmas.
Well, that's people. You know what they're like.
Yeah, I've met people. Not that keen.
No, I don't like Easter. I like it better than Christmas, I think.
But what do you get at Easter? Nothing.
Chocolate.
Yeah, but you don't get chocolate at your age. I mean, a person of maturity.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Don't you?
Who gets your chocolate, Jan?
Well, I do.
Oh, you buy it for yourself?
Well, why not?
Well, you can do that any time of year.
True. But I try and be a bit,
treat yourself, Jan. You're worth it.
Well, I am doing Easter.
Right.
One more thing.
And another thing.
How was your Acer? Is it still alive?
Well, it's burst with those cute little leaves that a lot of plants are getting now. The very, very bright green ones before they get all gnarled and dark green and wrinkled.
Yeah.
So far, so good. But this is not the test. When it just opens its leaves for the very first time in the spring, that is not the test. Call me in the end of summer after it's been, sitting outside in the baking sun.
Well, that's what they don't like.
Right. Well, they don't like being in. They don't like being in the sun. They don't like being in the shade. And they don't like being in partial shade. And they don't like it when it's warm. They don't like it when it's cold. Oh my God, what do they like?
They don't like wind.
Wind. That is a stupid tree that doesn't like wind.
Don't let them dry out, and don't let them get waterlogged. So.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Picky.
Quite difficult, really.
Very difficult. Yeah.
But good luck with it, anyway.
All right, thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear.
Right.
Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Okay, doom scrolling. Just stop it right now. I have detailed files. It's actually going to improve your brain. And I'll come to that in just a minute. Chris in Brazil says, these car safety systems are dangerous. The car safety systems are dangerous.
Oh, no.
The car slammed on the brakes while I was trying to overtake a truck going up a steep slope between Santos and Sao Paulo, says Chris in Brazil. Drive the car yourself or get a bus. Don't trust machines. AI is bad.
Affirmative.
Yeah, well, I've seen that film. And it was certainly bad in that film. The car slammed on the brakes while I was trying to overtake a truck going up a steep slope between Santos and Sao Paulo. Well, there must be something in there that you're not telling us, Chris. Why would it slam the brakes on? Were you driving like a lunatic? Ronan says muffins are cakes. That is so wrong. I don't even know where to begin. And Paula and Nora and Ruth and Lindsay and David and Joanne said, virtually shouting at the radio, laburnum. Yeah, I know now. I know. Laburnum. And Jordan on that subject says, laburnum is beautiful in bloom, but it is deadly, containing the alkaloid toxin cytosine, which can be fatal if ingested. Well, who's going to ingest it? Don't eat flowers. Simple. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
LBC.
You're joking.
So there's this study that they conducted in Canada. You know Canada, don't you? Yeah, that's it. A Canadian study found that someone can reverse their brain age by 10 years by turning off their mobile phone's internet for 2 weeks.
What?
Yep. You can reverse your brain age by 10 years by turning off your mobile phone's internet for just 2 weeks. In a study on 400 people, students and working-age adults, researchers asked participants to download an app that blocked their smartphone's access to the internet. They could still make calls and send texts. Participants completed surveys before and after the study to measure their brain function and mental well-being. Results showed their sustained attention, their ability to focus on one subject, was boosted so much it became equivalent to the attention span of someone 10 years younger.
Yowza.
90% of people reported improvements in their mental health, on a magnitude greater than expected from taking antidepressants for 2 weeks. And participants said they had improvements in their personal well-being and feelings of life satisfaction, all from not being glued to social media for a couple of weeks and doom-scrolling the latest insanity from the Trump crime family. Researchers said the shift in the brain was likely due to a change in how people spent their time, with individuals now spending less time on the internet and more socialising in person and being in nature. I mean, that won't compute with some people. Yes, you can actually socialise with people in real life. You know, face to face. As opposed to communicating with somebody who's not there using emojis and abbreviations, LOL, ROFL, WTH, AAT, and all that. Researchers also found over the study period, screen time nearly halved, dropping in one group from 5 hours and 14 minutes to 2 hours and 41 minutes a day on average, an amount that is also known as still too blooming much. 5 hours? Blimey. Down to 2 hours 41. The study team from the University of British Columbia said despite the many benefits to mobile internet, reducing the constant connection to the digital world can have a large positive effect. Correct, Amundo. Turn off the phone. Step away from the internet. I mean, I know this is hard to believe, but there's a whole world in high definition and surround sound outside. Nature is having its fun, happy time, so get out there, innit? Innit? Newham, Christopher.
Hello, Nick.
Christopher.
I'm a bit nervous calling because I know you might say I'm a bad driver, so I'm a bit worried.
Okay, no, I'm going to have to cut this call instantly because there seems to be an echo on the line.
I'll put you on speaker. 1 sec, I'll turn your speaker. Can you hear me now?
Hello? No, we've still got an echo. We're going to call you back. We're calling back. Nothing works in this country, have you noticed? Not a single thing. Newham, that's just down the road. Crying out loud. I bet I could get a call from New Zealand and it would come in clearer than that. Here he is, Newham, Christopher.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's a really bad start, isn't it? I do apologise.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with you. It's British infrastructure. Rubbish.
Which is absolutely brilliant, as you know. Right, good evening, Nick. I think you're absolutely brilliant. And first time I've listened to you quite often.
Oh, yes.
You put me to sleep, actually, which is quite good, so thank you.
All right.
What it is, Nick, you're talking about these cars with these fantastic systems.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving down a quiet road, only doing 20 miles an hour because that's the speed limit. Nothing in front of me, nothing behind me. A person on one side of the road, nowhere near, I thought was plenty of room, and then the car decided to slam its brakes on and warn me after. And that's quite scary.
It braked first and then told you afterwards it was going to brake?
Yes.
Right.
Emergency stop. Scared something out of me. I won't say it.
Really? An emergency stop?
Yeah. It was actually quite scary.
Well, yeah.
I think the systems are good, but...
That doesn't sound very good.
I think it's actually dangerous.
Well, that does sound dangerous, yeah. Was there anybody behind you at the time?
Luckily, no.
No.
Because whose fault would it be? Because if the car brakes and then warns you and someone goes into the back of you, because I was speaking to someone about this, it's not your responsibility, so... Well,
if somebody goes into the back of you, you could, with justification, say it is their fault. I think that's the default position. If somebody goes into the back of you, it's their fault.
I do apologise, yeah. And especially with these things when the car decides to pulls out across the lane and tries to push you back in. I've had to fight it a couple of times. Yeah. Because I'm going to hit a car as it pulls you back onto your side. You're going down like a normal road and you've got to go slightly in the middle because you have to. Right? And the car decides, it just pulls you across, thinking you're going to hit that car. I've had cars in the past that never went in the straight line, and what I used to do was when I got to a set of lights, I had to slow down. Before I slowed down, I corrected the steering before I came to a stop, and I was told it was the car's characteristics.
It's the car's characteristics that it doesn't go in a straight line.
Yeah. Well, so I'm only 41, and it's like, okay, I know I'm getting a little bit older, and I've been driving 17 years, but I thought to myself, the technology is good.
Well, I don't know. Nothing that you've described so far sounds good. It sounds like it sounds like all these safety measures are actually dangerous.
And I was told by the dealership, it's a safety feature.
Yeah, right.
So
let's live dangerously and turn them all off. What do you say?
Yeah, but the trying to go for a system and try and work out how to turn each thing off is...
You might as well have taken a bus or walked it a bit quicker. Yeah. All right, thanks for the bad news, Christopher. I restate my case. All of those things should be ripped out of cars straight away. Never mind about what the EU says. Bloomin' EU. Coming over here, interfering with our business. The hell do they think they are? Will says, I can't stand the suspense. Can't we just introduce a golf course tax and have Trump fall out with us now? Yeah, will he, won't he? He doesn't even know. There's no strategy. He's not strategizing. He's just making it up as he goes along.
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
There is zero strategy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just flailing around like a bully in the playground. And our position at the moment is running and hiding and hoping he doesn't find us.
In the room where dreams arise, dandelions kiss the skies. In poems and tales they fly free, the symbols of boundless liberty. The dandelions whisper in the breeze, a journey beyond with effortless ease.
Craft. You can get Japanese traditional sashiko embroidery needles and threads and patterns, says Anne. Yeah, I went to a hobbycraft once. I didn't really understand it as a business. I didn't really get how they could, because it has a big shop, like it was on 2 floors, the one near me. And I went in there looking for Velcro. Yeah, have you got any idea how much Velcro costs? Too blooming much is how much it costs. Why does it cost that much? Anyway, I just didn't really understand hobbycraft as a business model. How are they a thing? I mean, somebody comes in, they buy like some white thread to sew a button on their shirt, and it'll cost them 10 pence. How are they making a profit doing that? I didn't really get it. Nor did it make me want to go back in there at all, ever again. But then, I don't have a hobby, so I don't need the craft. Let's see now. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Hi, Nick, you all right?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, W.H. Smith, yeah?
Yeah.
Years ago, when I was a kid, yeah, people used to be just reading all the newspapers and the books and everything and stand there for hours and then just walk out.
Yeah, it's not a library, mate. You're going to buy that.
I know. It was so hilarious. But, saying that, they're keeping the business at the airports, and I noticed there was one in Delhi Airport when I was in India earlier this year.
What do they sell?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't go in.
Oh, right.
Because, when I used to be a courier, I used to pick up their paperwork down the head office. We used to be in Swindon. But these shops are going downhill anyway. Like most print media, people don't want it, do they? Because they can get it off their phone as well. That's another thing. And then the prices are so expensive in there.
Are they?
They were, yeah.
I think anything that's got to do with paper is sort of on the way out, isn't it? It's going to be thought of as an old person's thing. You want a pencil, Grandad? Really?
I know. One of my good friends, because he used to have a shop next door, he still comes every morning and buys the paper. And I think, then he'll come and talk to me what was in the paper. He says, "Oh, you read this in the paper?" And I can't remember the last time I bought a newspaper.
No, I think that is tragic. We will miss them when they're gone, because paper, actual physical paper is a satisfying thing to have and hold. And I've said this many times. The thing with reading the internet for news is that there is no end to it. It just goes on forever. Literally, there is no end, and so you're constantly on edge, because there's more and there's more. And if you like that, you might like this, and if you're interested in that, you're interested in this. And so there's a tension there. Whereas with a newspaper, you know when it ends because you're holding it in your hand. You know the last story in the paper, so you can tell how long you've got until the end, and then you put it down and you go do something else. Whereas the internet has no end.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but you have been discussing this. It's what's in the paper now that puts me off buying a newspaper, because I used to like reading about the sport. Right?
Yeah, there's still sport.
Yeah, but I don't bother now, because I listen to the radio, get most of my information from there. Okay, and this thing about what Donald Trump and everybody's doing, right? J.D. Vance, right? I've been thinking about this in the last couple of weeks. Remember Rudolph Hess when he parachuted into Scotland and he says, "I'll come to arrest all of you and I'm taking over." Was it something like that? Yeah. So J.D. Vance has gone to Greenland, right, saying, "I've come here to, liberate you." Why don't they just put him in prison? Just put him in prison and say, "No, stitch that."
Throw him in prison for visiting their country. That's not what Greenlanders would do. That's what Americans do.
Yeah, so we sometimes you have to fight fire with fire.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think the entire world should turn its back on Donald Trump and America and get on with our own business, and to hell with him.
Yeah, on one of the earlier shows today, somebody picked out something. He says, "Listen, if Donald Trump does take over Greenland, he won't be able to overtake take over Canada, because Canada's too big and strong, and plus they're under the British, aren't they? Right?" And he goes, "What's going to happen next? Then Putin's got his eye on Europe." Right, the Chinese guy has got his eye on Thailand, Japan, and everywhere like that, and especially
I don't know about Thailand, but Taiwan.
No, not Thailand, but the other places, South Korea.
Those three individuals want to carve up the world and run it like a tripartite oligarchy.
Yeah, I'd say about 20 years ago, when I used to discuss these kind of things, I said there's going to be three big economies in the world, right? There's going to be the Americans, the Europeans, and the Far East.
And China.
And I've the Far East, yeah. And I've spoken to you about this as well. Now, they broke the European Union by throwing ourselves out, which has made it weaker.
Right,
now, Russia's there to take over. Right?
No.
So
Russia's not going to take over Europe.
No, but the other two are America and China.
Yeah, it's going to be America, China, and Europe, and maybe India as well. But India may, I don't know, it may pally up with Russia. We just don't know. But it seems to be a very, very bad time to be outside of a major trading bloc. It seems to be a really stupid time to be in the playground on our own, hoping that one of the bullies doesn't pick on us. Ranjit, got to go. Thanks for that. 0345 6060 973, just past 11:30 on LBC, the news headlines with Tim Daly.
The outgoing head of the body running the health service in England's been telling LBC he does not disagree with the decision to abolish it. Richard Meddings has been talking after the government announced the scrapping of...
What number are you calling from?
0345 6060 973. Chris says, is water wet or does it just make things wet? Wow, Chris, you've just blown my mind.
Groovy.
Maz says, may I please inject a note of optimism? Yes, Maz. Now that EU leaders are holding each other's hands on defence, it makes it more likely that there will be more cooperation on trade, says Maz. Well, between us and the EU, or between EU leaders, you mean? And Chris says, famous Hellraiser Richard Harris was once approached by police while in a spectacularly drunken state, sitting in the middle of the road. The police officer asked him what he was doing. The actor responded clearly that he was waiting for his house to pass by. Waiting for his house to pass by. That's quite good. He says, I feel the same way about Brexit. Yeah, waiting for the good stuff to come by. How's Brexit going, by the way?
Brexit's going great.
Glad to hear it, Nige. Craig says, your caller is 100% correct. Which one? You can be going for a safe overtake and the car tries to kick you back into traffic and then starts auto-braking. Completely unsafe for blue light driving, and in newer cars you can't permanently switch the stuff off. What's blue light driving? Is that police speak? What, you mean you got your sirens on and your car's trying to slow you down? Well, that would be unsafe, yeah. What's blue light driving if it's not that? And Adrian says, so W.H. Smith is going to disappear. Is there no limit? Meghan Markle won't stoop. I think you screwed that one up, Adrian. That's not me screwing it up. You screwed that one up all on your own. Battersea. Hello, Caroline. Caroline? Caroline will be with us in about 5 seconds when she realises that there's a delay and she's listening to the radio, and she'll hear her name in just a moment and rush across the kitchen table and pick up... Oh, there you are.
I just want to say, I had a good day today. 3 good things happened. The weather was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I got my internet phone.
Oh.
And I spoke to my son. But it's right, about the internet. Like because I had a little phone, so I had to use my brain, do you know what I mean? Spell everything out.
Yeah.
And do everything. So, like, in the winter, I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people just get a little depressed because they're indoors and they're not going out.
Right.
And walking and occupying their minds or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the summer, it's always brighter, don't you think?
There is a certain lightness to your step in the summertime.
And do you know what else, like what you said? I think people in prison are like guinea pigs. I think they test all the medication out on them first, don't you?
That had never occurred to me, actually, Caroline. But I'm going to look into that very strongly. Thanks for that. I suspect that was the purpose of the call and not the isn't it nice outside part. Jay says, I bought a new car and I was driving back home from the dealership. I reached a group of cyclists, so I accelerated and moved out to overtake them. The car wanted to keep me in my lane and actively steered me back towards the cyclists. If I hadn't harshly intervened, I would have knocked them off, says Jay. Huh. Well, that doesn't sound like a great step forward in road safety. All these safety features. Paul says, I once got a Christmas job at W.H. Smith, but had already accepted a job somewhere else. If I had taken it, this text would probably have been more interesting. This text would probably have been more interesting. Yeah. Probably, yeah. Florida. Yeah. Bruce.
Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
just taking a break from watching all 190 episodes of 24 and Jack Bauer and all that.
Oh.
And I'm calling from the land of the poorly educated,
yes.
Palm Beach County in Florida.
Uh-oh.
Just maybe 10 miles from Mar-a-Lago. So, Nick, I'm calling because I have a proposal for you.
Go ahead.
I would like to be your official or unofficial U.S. correspondent, because nobody, I certainly know that you have Simon in the U.S. and other reporters, but you're so insightful on Trump, but there are certain certain news that you don't get there that we get here that I could shed light on and make your story even better than it is right now.
Right. So you want a job?
But, Nick, fortunately, I'm retired, and my wife and I live on a fixed income, and so you wouldn't have to pay me anything. I just love you and your show, and love to just give you some extra stuff on the U.S. For instance, law firms in the U.S., the big law firms that bill, let's say, $2 or $3 billion a year, are caving into the Trump administration.
I know.
Because Trump is going after them.
Yes.
And
well, he's going after specific ones that helped out his enemies. I mean, that's what consumes that man all day long. How can I get back at my enemies? Yeah.
Retribution. Yeah. So it's things like that. But the thing is, there are a lot of these law firms. While there are some law firms fighting it in court, there are other law firms that are caving in and literally donating as much as $100 million in pro bono.
Yeah, giving him free stuff. Yeah, just to stop him from attacking them, because people are leaving those law firms and going to other law firms, which are taking advantage of their of the fact that they're in the crosshairs. And or they call them rainmakers. These lawyers who can bill tens of millions of dollars, and and if a lawyer switches firms, then they take their clients with them. See the TV show Suits for further details.
Right. So everything that's been predicted about authoritarianism, about oligarchy, is happening here right now.
Yeah, right now. And the American press, they're not really paying attention. It's like they're trying to report it as though it's perfectly normal, as though there's nothing alarming going on here, as though all we've got to do is wait for another 3 and a bit years, and then we can have a fair election, and then we can, have a reset. And none of that's going to happen. Americans have to wake up.
Oh, forget it. People here are so stupid, Nick. It is just they're not only stupid, they're ignorant. So you combine the two, and it's really horrible.
Well, they're willfully ignorant. They refuse to learn. It's not as though they can't, or it's just that they don't want to. They actively want to be lied to. And to be clear, it's not just Americans. That kind of thinking is everywhere. We got that here too. There's a story that piqued my interest in Florida. Did you see this? They're thinking of loosening child labor laws to replace.
They're going through with it. Yeah,
to replace the undocumented workers that they're throwing out of the country.
Right. So you're going to have 14 and 15-year-olds working overnight.
Overnight.
I don't know, dairy farms or wherever.
Amazing. Are you tired of winning yet, Bruce?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something. It's really scary, Nick. It really is. It's like 1984. You've got a populace that's uninformed, that is so provincial. They couldn't even point out the UK on a globe or on a map.
Well, I did see a clip, and this could work in this country as well. Here's a map of the world. Can you point to any countries that you recognize on this map of the world? And person after person couldn't do it.
Right, exactly. Exactly. It's a sad state of affair.
Yeah.
You know, they just closed the education department in the U.S.
Well, they
Again,
fired
the Department of
10 or 20,000 people, something like. Oh no, that was the health department. They just fired 10 or 20,000 people from the health department because who needs health, right?
Right. So here's a good example with health. Bobby Kennedy Jr. announced that he was sending vitamin A capsules to West Texas to fight off the measles. It's been proven that vitamin A does nothing to stanch, the measles. It does. It has no curative powers, but it does, alleviate some symptoms after you've gotten it. But that's it.
And
it will never.
If you take a lot of it, it actually turns your face orange. So,
right.
You could show your support by that.
You show your support by that. Then on Fox News, you've got, the followers of Fox News are all drinking, a gallon of cod liver oil a day and, taking 4,000 megagrams of vitamin A. They're all following it,
Well,
and
maybe that'll all work out for us in the end. And, by that method, they'll whittle down their numbers. Fingers crossed.
And now, of course, you can understand why I should be your U.S. correspondent.
Right. Well, leave that with me, Bruce, and I'll think about it. I'll think it over. All right. Thanks a lot, mate. Craig says, I think we should invade Mallorca. It's got lovely weather there. Well, that's a good idea, Craig. I think that we should look into that very strongly and with great strength. 0345 6060 973 LBC.
LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
Will texts, as per your list of films pertaining to the current state of the world, I suggest you add Whoops Apocalypse to it. The only difference in the real world is the American leader who is as mad as a box of frogs. I don't know anything about that film. But the ones that you should watch are Don't Look Up and Idiocracy, both of which used to be comedies and are now documentaries. Zachary emails, the best stationery store these days is The Range. You can get anything you need in life, from surfboards to air fryers. What? You're joking. Surfboards to air fryers? Well, yeah, but you wouldn't go to a shop to buy an air fryer or a surfboard if it sold the other, would you? You buy an air fryer from John Lewis and you buy a surfboard from some place where dudes hang out in Cornwall or somewhere like that, wouldn't you? What's The Range? I mean, what do they do apart from surfboards and air fryers? I mean, if you had to describe them to me in one short sentence, what is it that they do, Zach? Anne says, are you watching the World Figure Skating Championships in Boston right now? Well, let me think about that for a second.
No.
No. Anne says, people sneer and laugh at figure skating with all its arm waving, etc., but you can't balance while dancing on ice without sticking your arms out. Okay, that's good to know. I'll remember that. Lester Hemant.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Nick, this is so funny. Nick, your favourite friend, Donald Trump, he has a personal pastor, Mark Burns, which is his spiritual advisor.
Mark Burns?
Yeah.
I thought it was a woman.
No, that's the other one. She's the senior advisor, which is Pastor Paula White.
Paula White, right. Paula tight, more or less.
Exactly.
More likely, because she seems to be very tight of the face. Like she can. It looks like she can barely blink.
If you donate at the moment $1,000 for Easter, you'll get blessings with God sending you an angel.
Is that right?
Yes, $4,000 this Easter.
Well, that sounds very reasonable. Can I have 2?
You could have 7, apparently.
7?
Yes.
And all it would cost me is $7,000?
Yes, exactly. All going into Trump's secret bank account.
Well, no, I very much doubt it. If it's going into anybody's secret bank account, it'll be the pastor. I mean, it's not Donald Trump who's suggesting that you give him $1,000 and he'll pray for you, is it? No.
But Paula is a pastor,
right.
she says.
Yes. I mean, they call it the prosperity.
Oh, my golly.
The prosperity...
Rip-off churches, the mega church.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Just send me $100 and I will pray for you. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Painful.
But they do it. Have you seen these mega churches? I've
seen them, I've seen Paula speaking in tongues. Talk about embarrassing.
Yeah, but they've tried to get Donald Trump to do that, and it didn't work.
Well, I'm not entirely sure about that. He makes as much sense as she does.
Also, his pastor, his spiritual advisor, which is the pastor Mark Burns, he says that he is sent from God.
Yeah.
He is the Messiah.
Well, that's what Donald Trump says. Donald Trump says that God saved him in order to allow Donald Trump to save America. Praise Jesus. These people, it just absolutely blows my mind that anybody can be fooled by these people. I mean, come on. I don't know anything about religion, and I know that just the very idea is irreligious. Just the notion that they are following Jesus is comical. They aren't. They want Jesus to follow them, so that they can justify their hatred and their avarice. It's just extraordinary. And people are so gullible, it's just amazing. And Donald Trump summed it up for us in a nutshell.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah, that's right. The world's full of suckers. Thanks a lot, Hammond. 0345 6060 973. Kath says, I'm still perplexed that you have never heard or seen a Staples shop. They are an Aladdin's cave of stationery. Yeah, I don't think you can really describe anything that contains stationery as being an Aladdin's cave. Stationery. I mean, they made The Office, you know, the TV program with Ricky Gervais. They made The Office to be an office that sells paper. I imagine they did that because they couldn't think of anything more boring. So perhaps if they actually also sell staples and pencils, that's slightly less boring, but I still wouldn't call it an Aladdin's cave. I mean, what's in there apart from pens and paper and things to put pens and paper on or in? Navi says, is he riding a donkey? Is who riding a donkey? Who are you talking about? I know I've said this many times, but when you hear me say something and then you react to it with a text, I don't get to read that text at the moment that you send it. I don't say something and then wait for a texted response. I come to it some while later, you know, when there's time available to me. So if you just say something that is a reaction to what I've said, then you have to put it in context, otherwise I've got no idea what you're talking about. It's not just me, is it? Let's see what this one's like. Natalie says, I was walking with a friend through London the other day and the amount of litter was embarrassing. Who is listening who can help with this? I thought we were a capital city. People travel here on holidays. It was embarrassing. Tottenham Court Road in particular. Oh, Tottenham Court Road.
Disgusting.
Awful. Tottenham Court Road is attached to Oxford Street.
Dreadful.
It really is. No, people should not go there from another country. The only reason that anyone would go to Tottenham Court Road is to get on the tube to go to somewhere else. There's nothing attractive about it. And I'd say ditto Oxford Street, at least until you get to Oxford Circus and then west from there. For a bit. Not a lot. It is kind of a shame that, although they have made great strides, I went there just the other day, down Oxford Street, they appear to have made great strides in improving some of it, but it still has the stink of the 1980s about it. It just does. Bath. Hello, Laura.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Great, mate.
I'm also good. Not that you asked, but
No.
You getting confused is just music to my ears. I love it so much. So funny. Can I interest you in the countryside? Because you text that you just got about, London being really covered in rubbish and stuff.
Yeah.
If you come out here, I'm a country girl, and it's a lot more beautiful, I tell you
But
that.
Bath is a city. That's not country.
Well, I'm going to let you in a little secret. See, I'm Laura from Bath. I actually technically live just on the outskirts of Bath,
right,
where nature reigns free.
Well, I had nature up to my eyeballs just this week. I went to Kew, which is chock full of nature. They got nothing but nature. Overrated.
Yeah.
Kew Gardens.
No, they just crammed all the nature into a park. If you come out to the country, there's more space. I'm a big fan of space.
Laura,
I don't like being boxed in.
Kew Garden is probably the most significant and important garden in the world. Is overrated.
Why is it the most important in the world?
It has the largest and most precious collection of shrubs on Earth.
Shrubs?
Yes.
What about the Garden of Eden? Surely that's the most significant garden in world history.
I didn't say for world history. I said in the world right now. And I bet Kew Gardens is significantly better than the Garden of Eden.
Okay. Well, whatever...
They only had an apple tree. What's great about that?
Whatever they're paying you at Kew Gardens is not enough. Case in point, my garden today,
yeah.
I saw a Tarzan rat in my garden today.
A what?
A Tarzan rat.
Rat?
It was swinging on the trees above me. I actually couldn't believe it. I thought they'd have some fear, but they didn't. He wasn't scared of me, none at all.
You know what I've never seen in Kew Gardens?
A Tarzan rat?
Yeah, exactly.
But do you ever have a theory that, animals, when we're not looking at them, actually have all kinds of different abilities? I didn't know rats could swing on trees, but maybe he didn't know I was looking at him.
I have always found it a little suspicious that the only species that does not have to spend its entire day eating, in case it misses out on making it through the night, is us. Every other species on Earth is obsessed with finding food to eat, but we can go to the supermarket and stock up for a couple of weeks. There isn't another animal in the world that can do that. Just us. And only we book ahead our holidays for the year. Let me see your Tarzan rat do that, Laura. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at midnight. The Vice President of the United States has accused Denmark of doing a bad job of protecting Greenland and its citizens. J.D. Vance made the comments during a visit to the autonomous Danish territory after Donald Trump repeated his desire for it to come under Washington's control. But the geopolitics professor, Klaus Dodds, has told...
Brexit goes on inside that head of yours.
Well, at the moment, I'm trying to figure out what that story about Elon Musk selling X was about. Elon Musk has sold the social media site X, formerly known as Twitter, to Elon Musk. Huh? Elon Musk has sold X for $33 billion to Elon Musk. Shall I say it again?
No.
Elon Musk has sold X for $33 billion to Elon Musk. Why? That all sounds very above board. What's going on there, then? Mystifying. Let's see. Junior says, currently in the Dominican Republic on holiday, and when I think of what is happening in the UK, I'm not coming back. Yeah, that's a good plan, Junior. I would get lost in the Dominican Republic if I were you. I mean, I've got no idea what life is like in the Dominican Republic, but it's almost certainly warmer, more clement than here. There's that. Ewan says Velcro is a rip-off. Listeners with material. Oh, no. And Julia says J.D. Vance isn't just visiting Canada, he is openly threatening to overthrow their government. I think they would have every just cause to arrest and jail him there. He's not visiting Canada, he's visiting Greenland. The person they call the Second Lady, J.D. Vance's wife, Usha, her trip to Greenland has become even more of an embarrassment to the Trump administration. She forgot her eyeliner, but fortunately her husband came with a lot of it. Usha Vance, J.D.'s wife, and one of her sons had been scheduled to visit Greenland, the Danish-controlled territory, from Thursday through to Saturday, to see historic and cultural sites. And by see historic and cultural sites, they mean troll a whole country and make them fearful of attack. They weren't there on holiday. It wasn't just a coincidence they went to Greenland. Nothing about this regime is accidentally awful. It's awful deliberately. And I would say that this is a strategy, but as you know...
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
I mean, just blundering around, throwing haymakers till they connect. There's no strategy. So as the screaming Mimi, Donald Trump, continues to insist that the US is going to take control of Greenland one way or the other, the Americans sent the wife of the vice president to intimidate them, to make it perfectly clear that Trump's not joking, that he is going to try and take over a foreign country, just like his best buddy Vlad the Insaner. Is this real life, or am I hallucinating? And the Americans said that the vice president's wife was there at the invitation of Greenland's government. And I know this is going to come as a shock, but that's not true. Liar! Yeah, she's not. The Americans said the vice president's wife, Usha, was there at the invitation of Greenland's government, and Greenland's government said, oh, no, she's not. Trump said she'd been invited. Greenland said she hadn't been invited. Who to believe? A totally immoral, lying bag of vindictiveness and bile? Or some peaceable people who eat, and I looked this up, they eat raw blubber of whales for breakfast.
Disgusting.
You believe that? That'd keep me in bed forever, I think. The prospect of a raw blubber breakfast. Oh, no thanks. So J.D. Vance's wife, Usha, invaded Greenland for a brief trip supposedly to see the sights, but it didn't go very well. Because like the rest of the world, not being run by a dictator, the people of Greenland aren't very happy with Donald Trump. Very unfair, very mean and bad. According to a report from Danish TV, a plan to attend a popular dog sled race was cancelled. And American officials were left scrambling trying to find anyone who would be willing to meet J.D. Vance's wife in the capital of Nuuk. N-U-U-K. I'm assuming it's pronounced Nuuk. And the people of Nuuk said no.
Yes.
They even knocked on Nuuk's doors and were resoundingly told no thank you of their request to meet with Usha. People are going around, would you like to meet the Second Lady of the United States of America? And they said,
no.
No. No, thank you. There's a sign on the door. No junk mail, no circulars, no grinning shills for an invading force. It says it on the gate. And as a result, the scheduled 3-day trip is reduced to just 1 day now. Today. or yesterday as it is now, when Vice President J.D. Vance joined his wife to visit an American military base, which they didn't need an official invite for. And they were joined by the National Security Advisor, Mike Walls. You know Mike Walls, right? Yeah. And Energy Secretary Chris Wright. But then you probably know that already, having been included in the online chat that they had about it. And to be very clear, according to the paper USA Today, Greenland's government has explicitly stated there was no formal or informal invitation for US officials to visit the territory, especially as it's in the middle of negotiations to form a new coalition government. They said, we're busy with grown-up things. Go and play your silly games somewhere else.
Don't be rude.
And opinion polls have shown that nearly all Greenlanders oppose being part of the United States. And in the past couple of weeks, anti-American protesters have staged some of the largest demonstrations ever seen in Greenland. And it takes something quite big to get them riled up. I mean, they eat whale blubber for breakfast, for crying out loud. Even that doesn't upset them. So this is big. Trump really is bringing the world together in hatred for him and his robber baron co-conspirators. Even Semolina is more popular than he is. And, of course, he lies about it. Tangerine Twitler said that the people of Greenland want something to happen with the United States. He said, they're calling us. We're not calling them. Yeah, and that's not true either. Those countries, they let you do anything when you're famous. Not only Greenlanders are not calling Trump to beg him to take over their country, they're not picking up when he calls. And they're blocking his number. And Trump said, we need Greenland, and the world needs us to have Greenland, including Denmark. If we don't have Greenland, we can't have good national security. And you can read all about America's national security in any open chat room with the Secretary of Defense. Just invite yourself and he'll tell you anything you want to know. As long as he's not passed out drunk. Booze. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Manchester. David.
Are you okay, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I'm not massively big on politics. I don't really... I try not to take too much notice of it. But it looks like England are aligning themselves more to Europe rather than America. Am I right in saying that?
Well, what do you mean by aligning?
Well, the more like, by the looks of it, I think he was kind of on the fence, Keir Starmer, but he seems to be, he's going to go with Europe rather than go and have good relationships with America. He's going to go with the rest of Europe, like Germany and France, and with them, and cut ties loose with America. Am I right in saying that? Or wrong,
no, you're wrong in saying that. Keir Starmer has repeatedly stated that choosing between Europe and America is a false choice, and he doesn't intend to do it. He wants good relations with America and Europe. He wants to love everybody.
All right, well, good luck with that. Anyway, I'm trying to find a way out of England because I'm fed up with it. Right. Everyone's depressed.
Yeah.
Everything costs too much. Mm-hmm. The government we've got in at the moment is wheeling around like a load of madmen with a load of power guns to their heads. Angela Rayner's from my neck of the woods. If I ever come across her, she's getting both barrels off me. She's gone down in my estimation. She has. She's meant to be from a working class background. She's showing nothing of the sort, in my opinion. This government who I voted for I cannot believe the behaviour of them. Certainly on the benefits thing for people. I think it's disgusting what they're doing there. So they're certainly not got off to a good start, in my opinion, like I thought they would. I think they're alienating a lot of their own people. It's a party that I was brought up on that's meant to represent the destitute of society and the working class. And at the moment, it doesn't seem like that's the case to me at the moment.
Well, it's the working people that they were supposed to represent. Yeah, destitute is supposed to be represented by everybody. I mean, you know, you help the least fortunate among us.
Well, that's a load of rubbish.
Are you saying that it's a load of... Hang on a minute. Are you saying that the concept of helping the least fortunate is a load of rubbish, or that the Labour... Right. Well, I can't agree with you with that.
Well, yeah, because you're telling me people... All right, so someone who lives in Kensington, like a Piers Morgan, say, you're telling me he's helping out someone who's on the streets begging for change. Or I can give you a bit of money for an hotel tonight, I'll probably just walk past me, get in his black cab and go wherever he's going. That's all the rubbish, that. Anyway,
I don't really understand where you've just gone, David, but you want to leave the country? Well, we'll have a whip round, and I'll see you at the border. Thanks a lot, mate. I'm confused. And I've been confused ever since this programme started 2.25 hours ago, so I suppose it's not such a stretch that you added to my confusion. I don't quite get where you were coming from. But I know where you're going. Away. Matt says, for your Trump bingo card, Trump will announce the withdrawal of American NATO membership in June 2025 at the next NATO summit in The Hague in the Netherlands. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, on video link. Yeah. You're all really bad. Something like that. Yeah, but then what? I mean, that's not such a great prediction for the future, but what's he going to do then? Because I would predict that he's going to throw his oar in with Vladimir Putin. He's going to send Vlad some troops and some weaponry. Betcha. 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 Radius says, water isn't wet because wet is a variable state. What does that mean? Water is wet. I've felt it. Believe me. Rob says, I'm bored on a flight home to Amsterdam from India, and I'm bored. Can never sleep on flights, and literally everyone around me is sound asleep, says Rob. Oh. Yeah, I can't sleep on flights either. It's just... I feel as though if I don't pay attention, then the plane is in danger. I know it's unreasonable and it doesn't really make any sense, but unless I am sitting in my seat paying attention, I do get the feeling that the plane and everybody in it is in some sort of danger. As though my attention is what's keeping us in the air. And that's doubly so for when you have to nip to the loo. I get in there and get out and back to my seat as soon as possible, because I know that if I don't, all hell could break loose. Could smash into a mountain. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I do feel as though I have to be in my seat paying attention. Otherwise, the worst could happen. Beverly says, why don't you get off Meghan Markle's case and leave her alone? Leave her alone. She's doing her best.
This is LBC.
Right, so what are we doing?
Given we're doing a radio show, but it does remind me I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
Now, it's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which the delightful Carol McGiffin and I try to solve people's problems while guffawing like seals. Now, if you have a problem, a conundrum, an issue that you've always wondered about, well, simply send it to the following address and leave it in the hands of the unprofessionals. nickandcarol@global.com. nickandcarol@global.com, and prepare to be totally satisfied. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
Oh, right, yeah.
There's well over 300... I cannot believe it. I say this frequently, and I still can't believe it. We've got over 300 episodes. That's just amazing to me. And we almost... In the entire period we've been doing them, we've missed almost no weeks at all. And she's been here, there and everywhere. I mean, I've been talking to her from all four corners of the globe. And we went all the way through the pandemic, didn't miss a beat. And we're two times a week now, twice a week. Comes out on a Monday and a Friday. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? I think you'll love it. Newcastle. Hello, Jed.
Hello, Nick. How are we doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
I like to apply for a job that doesn't exist, like our friend from Florida, if you don't mind.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like to be the unofficial cream egg correspondent.
The cream egg correspondent?
Yes. I'll give you a story last year about the trailer load getting stolen. You'll not remember because you've got a memory like a sieve.
Yeah, that is true, yeah.
I've got a new one for you.
Go on.
I just caught the headlines of the news on a rival dark side station, and the last story was a guy had been convicted of stealing £265 worth of cream eggs. And the kicker, I didn't do any homework. You know how we had homework.
No.
But the sentence was he was banned from the county of Cambridge.
What?
So I've got all things going on in my head. I don't want to find out what the actual thing is, but I'm thinking, well, if he's from Scotland, that's not much of an imposition.
No, that's not much of a punishment. No. But so if all his stuff is in Cambridge, then that would be upsetting.
Well, that's another scenario that you could just come up with without doing any homework.
Here, Jed, are you going to go out to celebrate your local victory?
Well, I'm at work, so if I get back and get rested and back up in time, I'll definitely make my way along the parade line.
Yeah, that'll be some exciting stuff. Yeah. Okay.
It'll be good times.
Right. Well, give us a report if you manage to get there.
Oh yes, I certainly will.
All right. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Jed. Egg news, and on that subject, Greg texts the following: eggs. That's it. One word text, eggs. Do you have any idea what that means? Oh my God, there's nobody in there. There's no one in there.
Warning.
I'm all alone. Eggs. What do you mean, eggs? Just one word in that text. Eggs. That's all it says. Apropos of what? No idea. Andrew says, my local stationery shop moved recently. Surprising. Is that a joke that I'm not getting? My local... Oh, no. I've been sideswiped. My local stationery shop moved recently. Surprising.
Oh, no.
I am in pain. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, you fell for that one, didn't you?
Can you believe that?
Yeah. A couple of sort of bits of sort of interest and stuff. Did you see what the El Salvador security foreign minister said about these Venezuelans that have been shipped down there from Trump?
No.
She said, these people, and they've been paid millions of dollars to take these from the USA, these horrendous people are now going to be treated as aliens, illegal aliens entering our country. And we are going to treat them appropriately. And they've been put into gulags. Now, they've taken these people for vast amounts of money from Trump. And these are also the Venezuelans, remember, that got grabbed in America because they had tattoos, which were mostly, apparently, according to their relatives, Real Madrid supporting tattoos.
What?
And the Americans said the fact they've got tattoos indicates that they are terrorists.
Yeah.
And so they've removed them. But this woman in El Salvador is sort of sidling up strength off Captain Forlock. It's weird. But the other thing is, this woman in America, this Turkish woman who's been grabbed by masked people and then removed. And a judge said she shouldn't be moved from the state. But she was moved anyway. Erdogan is saying, Turkish president, is saying nothing about it. They're not protesting. Well, why is Turkey not protesting? If we had a citizen grabbed like that, I would hope that our government would play her out.
Well, you would hope that would be the case, but I'm not sure that it actually would, because the Foreign Office doesn't they're not really for you and me. If you were running a £1 billion business, Mike, and you were a donor, then I'm sure that the Foreign Office would spring into action to aid you in any way that you deemed fit. But if you're an individual, got locked up in some foreign jail, I'm not sure that they'd bother showing up.
No, I guess that's the case, and yeah, maybe on that one. But final parting shot on this. Did you see Farage at his whatever you want to call it, party rally or whatever?
Well, it looked like another infomercial for JCB, just like Bodge used to do.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
What is it with JCB and these people who insist on doing free adverts for them? What's going on there?
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about that, just on the humorous side, I mean, does Farage really want to end up as a pet? Like Judson ended up as a pet at this guy's house.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a pretty good position to me. I'd like to be his pet.
Look what Farage actually said. The crazy bit was he said, "Oh, we're moving forward. We're going to take over. We have old people who support us. We have middle-aged people who support us. We have young professionals who support us. And we have young people." Well, my answer to that would be quite simply, yeah. The poorly educated, those of low IQ, are also equally distributed amongst these groups as well.
That is correct. Yes. I'm not saying the two are connected, but that is correct, yeah. Stupidity does not have an age barrier. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. One of the women in Trump's cabinet, I can't remember which one it was. It was a Kirsty Noem or one of those. Tulsi Gabbard. No, maybe not Tulsi Gabbard. Kirsty Noem. And all of the women that Trump surrounds himself with, they all look like they spend the entire day straightening their hair. Do they not? The men, not so much. The men are kind of boring and middle-aged and white. The women look weirdly glamorous, don't you think, for a politician? And so this woman, I think it was probably Kirsty Noem. I've got no idea what she actually does, but she's almost certainly as qualified as doing that as any of the other picks that Trump has made for his cabinet. And so she goes to what I seem to remember is Venezuela, looking like she's just popped out of an Abercrombie and Fitch catalogue. And you got all of these guys who are in cells behind her because she's just there for a photo shoot, right? And she's wearing a $50,000 watch, a gold Rolex. $50,000 to go and inspect a prison, one of the by many accounts, one of the worst prisons on earth, an absolute hellhole, and she's standing there like she's selling sweaters, like she's in a watch advert. And I would have to assume that none of this is accidental, that the cruel part is planned. All of the other stuff, all the flailing around and the screwing up and all of that's not planned. But the being cruel part, the being deliberately nasty just so that it takes the eye off them picking your pocket, that bit is planned. I think that the human race has made a big mistake, huge. I think we've taken a wrong turn a while back, and I think we need to do a U-E. The sat-nav is telling you to turn around at the nearest possible safe place to do it. Please make a U-turn at your soonest convenience and go back in the direction you've just come, because you just made a big mistake. Huge. Alan says, time to take back our American colonies, carelessly lost by George III. And Lindsay says, what did Italians eat before they had tomatoes? Just wondering. Well, you can make a pizza with no tomatoes. You can have a creamy, cheesy. Works well with mushrooms and ham. Ooh, I want that right now. So you can have a pizza without... Now, I'm not saying that Italians only eat pizza, but they also eat pasta, and you can use the same sauce on a pasta. So, there you are, Lindsay. Problem solved. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott.
Sick and dangerous, man.
Yes, sick and dangerous. Jonathan says, I would like to be your New Zealand correspondent on what is happening here. Not a lot at the moment, he says. I could do a weather report for my area. Neighbourhood reports in terms of what I heard about. Neighbourhood reports in terms of what I heard about. That is a sentence that probably only makes sense in New Zealand. He says, local animal reports, cats, magpies and birds I haven't identified yet, probably sparrows, says Jonathan, who would like to be a New Zealand correspondent. Well, let me think about that.
No.
Keith says, Pastor Mark Burns called LBC today claiming to be the spiritual advisor of the Orange Inseminator. He's obviously an imposter, as that accolade belongs to an individual called Lucifer. Yeah, I do think that Donald Trump has made a deal with the devil. He does seem to be on a lucky streak, doesn't he? A little bit, for somebody so dreadfully awful. Just the idea that he lives his life along religious lines, that he is a religious person, Donald Trump, I mean, that's just laughable. What are these people talking about? Absolutely deluded. 0345 6060 973. Newcastle, hello, Neil.
Hi, Nick.
Neil.
Great show, and I totally agree with everything that you just said there. He is the devil incarnate, and he needs to take him down one way or another.
Yeah, we should not try to kowtow to him. We shouldn't try to suck up to him. We should try to get on with our life and cut him out of it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You remember a couple of weeks ago you were on about Global Underground?
No, not Global Underground. I may have misspoken, but I was thinking of Global Communications, which is two guys, I think. They may be Scottish. But they released one of my favourite albums, which is just called The Length of Time That It Lasts. I think it's 7614. It's got an ear. It's got an ear on the front. Brilliant.
Right. Yes. Well, another. Have you heard of the KLF Chill Out album?
No, I don't associate KLF with chilling out.
Well, it's KLF, like the band, but they've done an album, and you should check it out, because I'm sure you will like it.
Well,
if you like the global communications thing, you'll like that as well.
I will definitely put that on my list. And you can put on your list Mind Games by John Lennon. The I don't know who remixed it, but it's very, very, very spacey, and to the point that if you didn't know it was John Lennon, you wouldn't know it was John Lennon.
I might give that a miss or a listen.
Yeah, you didn't sound very convinced, but trust me, it's not like Mind Games by John Lennon. It's much spacier than that.
All right.
All right.
Do you like the orb?
Well, little fluffy clouds, of course. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, quite. But no, I love what you do, and keep on doing it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Neil. Appreciate it. Laura says, I'm also not a fan of Easter celebrations, especially now Easter decorations and Easter trees are a thing. What? Easter decorations? Well, what's that? What's an Easter tree? She says, Christmas trees and lights make sense in December when nature and weather is bleak, but surely Easter needs no decorations when spring is around us. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, but I don't know what decorations you put up at Easter. What do they look like? Are they just repurposed Christmas decorations? Because if so, then that's a big no from me. It would have to have its own decorations, but for what purpose? No. Easter trees. That's not a thing. You can say it's a thing all you like, Laura, but it isn't. Derby. Hello, Simon.
Oh, caught me out there, Nick. You've talked about it before already, the Marjorie Taylor Greene interview. Did you actually see it?
Well, it wasn't an interview so much as she was just taking questions from the press, and then she stalked off in a huff like she does a lot.
Yeah, the bit I liked was, I mean, she's completely off her head. She's insane, isn't she? She was so aggressive. And in the end, she said she wasn't talking to that British interviewer anymore. She told her to go back to Britain.
Nobody's interested in your opinion. You go back to your own country.
The best bit of all of it, though, and it's a little chink of light, I think, in the reporters in America, was that she then said, I'll take another question from an American reporter.
Yeah.
And the American reporter said, I want you to answer the question she asked.
Yes.
And she looked like she was going to explode, didn't she? She says, I'm not answering that question.
I know. We've had this conversation already on this show. You must have missed it. But it is about time that reporters stuck together.
Yes.
And if one reporter gets thrown back, if the question gets thrown back, then the next reporter should demand that the question is answered by re-asking the same question.
Exactly. And then if they don't, they should all turn their backs on him and ignore him. Or her.
Yeah, that will drive them nuts.
Oh, God, yeah.
People like that, the worst thing for them is to be ignored.
Well, that's the other thing I just thought about was Vance today in Greenland. They supposedly went around knocking on doors, asking if people would be willing to have a chat with the Vice VP.
Right. And everyone said no.
Would.
Yeah, they said...
No.
Yeah, the Nook people said no.
Oh, good. I really feel sorry for Greenland, though. It's a nightmare.
Well, yeah. But it's going to be a nightmare for all of us. He's about to slap 25% on one of our major industries as a tariff, and the man doesn't even understand tariffs. He doesn't know how they work. Or he's pretending he doesn't know how they work because he knows his fans won't know.
I think it's time for us to get cosy with the EU, but also I think we need to tap into the Commonwealth, Canada, India, so tap into that a bit and try and get together with it, all stick together.
Yes, I think, that is the essence of it. The rest of the world has to stick together, realise that America is not our friend anymore because it's being run by this, the Tangerine Tornado, and we can't rely on them. And neither can we rely on anything he says or does, even if we get a trade deal, which I would recommend that is probably not a good idea, based on what he will ask for in return, or demand, rather, then, I just think that we've got to cut him out of our lives. You can't trust a man who you can't trust. He'll sign a deal one day, as he did with America and Canada. He'll say, as he did, this is the greatest deal that anybody has ever signed. And then shortly afterwards, he says, this is the worst deal that anybody ever signed, and he tears it up.
It's not worth bothering with him, is it?
It is not worth bothering with him. Correct. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Simon. Ta-da. Dan says, genius Elon Musk sold X to Elon Musk at a loss. Yeah, why would he do that? What's the point of doing that? Are there tax benefits to be had? I don't know. But it does seem a bit weird. Why would a man sell a company that he owns to himself? What's going on there? Laura says, Elon Musk sold X to Elon Musk. Dear God, there's two of them? Two of them? Yeah, let's hope not. No, one is plenty. We'll be lucky if we survive one. And Tom says, are you sure he wasn't riding a donkey? I don't think you spent enough time on this topic. The people demand answers. What are you talking about with this donkey thing? But then this one doesn't make any sense either. Richard texts, hi Nick, Ronan Keating. Huh? Ronan Keating what? Stop doing it to me. I think I'm being gaslit. You're alluding to something that supposedly happened on this show, but making me think that I'm going mad because I can't remember it. I am not going mad, and you are deliberately doing this to me. Anthony says, do you think Trump wants Greenland because he believes in Father Christmas and he wants to protect him? No. I think he wants Greenland because of the money, honey. I mean, just think how much money can Donald Trump make out of any given action, and that's probably the reason that he's doing it. He wants Greenland because it's very important for America's security. Oh, please. Like he cares about that. He's just stuck by the people who spilled war secrets in a public group chat. How secure was that? Anne says, when will Easter get here, for goodness sake? My old diary says it was the 27th of March in 2016. I used to know why Easter chopped around so much, and I forgot it. But I'm sure the internet knows. Yeah, it's a couple of weeks now. Isn't it exciting?
No.
Not really, no. Vancouver. Hello, Nick.
Oh, hi, Nick. You were asking about why Mr. Musk would sell X to himself.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I could tell from reading the deal, he never really owned X. He borrowed a lot of money in order to buy X on the strength of his shares in Tesla.
Right.
That's where his wealth was based at.
Yes.
Tesla's shares, as we all know, have taken an absolute dump. So
not for anything that he did or said, surely.
Oh, no, I know. I'm sure it was all those evil leftists that just had it in for it.
Yeah, those radical left lunatics, yeah.
So essentially, the guarantee that he gave the people that lent him money to spend about $35 billion more than X was actually worth when he bought it is no longer really a guarantee. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to say to them, I tell you what, I'll give you... Essentially what he's promising his creditors is that they'll get some money from AI when someone finally works out what to do with AI to make a profit. Because AI is the big thing in the market at the moment. Everybody wants a piece of AI. And he has this AI called Grok.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any money, like everything else of this, but it has the potential to make money in the future. So if the AI company buys Twitter, then essentially it's transferring the debt to the AI company. So what that does is it means that the AI will, in future, possibly pay off the debt.
Oh.
So it's trying to keep his creditors off his back is really what it is, and it's a pretty good indication that he's in trouble right now.
Yeah, but he's not in trouble like you and I might be in financial trouble. I mean, even if he loses 99% of his wealth, he'll still have more money than any reasonable person could spend in their entire life.
Well, yes and no, because he doesn't actually have wealth in the sense he's not like Scrooge McRitchie pants that's got a huge, basement full of gold coins. What he has is a lot of shares in his own company.
Yeah.
So he's really wealthy as long as Tesla continues to be a good company. And that's not going to happen. And he's really wealthy as long as Twitter can sell advertising. But if you've been to Twitter recently, it's just a smorgasbord of snuff videos. No one's going to advertise there.
I've never seen...
Literally, you can't open it without watching someone die.
I've never seen an advert on Twitter. And I go on there... And I go on there a lot, but I use an ad blocking software. It's free. I mean, it's not some highly complicated thing that I pay for. It's just free. Ad blocking software takes all the ads out of Twitter. Why doesn't everybody use that?
I don't know. I mean, most of the ads on Twitter are for various grifting crypto screens, Steve. So, buy your Bitcoin here.
But it's weird that I've never seen it.
Contact OLOG.
Yeah. But it's just bizarre that I have never seen an advert on Twitter. I mean, I see adverts on, British news websites, and I'm also looking at it with the same browser that I've got the ad blocker on. So it doesn't work with them. But it works 100% on Twitter. I don't think I have ever seen an advert on Twitter.
I think that probably tells you that the ads that they are getting are really sort of low-quality, low-rent ads that can't even afford to put in the software that means that your ad-blocking software doesn't work.
Well, maybe...
you go to
maybe
Facebook, the ad-blocking software there won't work because big companies like Ford and GM pay their programmers a hell of a lot of money to make sure you see it whether you want to or not.
Maybe some of the people that he fired were the ones that would make it so that you can't not see the adverts.
Well, I think there's that as well. But the sale of the one company to the other is an indication that he's in some trouble financially.
Right. Well, it couldn't happen to a more deserving person.
Exactly, that was my feeling.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Take care.
From Vancouver in Canada. Taking the time out to spread a little HAPPY-ness. Where there's precious little at the moment, I bet. Radius further explains wet is a very variable state which water defines. The water isn't wet when you touch it, it makes you wet. Same reason a flame can't be dry. Rubbish. That is my considered opinion. Barry says, listening from Cusco, Peru. Now, I don't know whether he's misspelt Costco in Peru, or there's a place in Peru called Cusco. He just wanted to know who's listening from. Chris says, water is a variable state because it's not wet until it lands on a surface, like the skin or a leaf. Until then, it's just water. Yes, Chris, but water is wet. That's just a fact. Arthur says, hello, Nick, chicken parmesan. OK, now you... Now you're just doing this deliberately. I'm not playing that game anymore. 0345 606
345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. Wolverhampton. Hello, Gary.
How you doing, Nick? You all right, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks.
That's mate. He looks like a butler.
Oh, really bad line, Gary. We're going to call you back straight away. Okay.
Got it.
All right, hang up and I'll have you back on in just a moment. Christina says, the prison was in El Salvador. The prisoners were supposedly from Venezuela and the watch was apparently from Rolex. Yeah. She wore what looked like her yachting attire and a $50,000 Rolex watch to go and inspect prisoners in El Salvador. I mean, they're just really awful people, aren't they? And when on a scale of 1 to 10, they're bending the needle. They're just horrible people. The worst people in the world are the ones that have won the most. If you need any further proof that there is no such thing as God, then I'm in want of evidence. Wolverhampton. Ah, yes, there you are, Gary.
Now then, Nick, I'm right out I'm out of the cellar that I was currently locked in.
Oh,
is that a better reception?
Yes, that is much better. You're coming through clear as a bell. Go ahead.
I say, ding dong. Yeah, J.D. Vance, mate, he looks like a butler in an haunted house. And
he does. J.D. Vance does look like a butler in a haunted house. That's just true.
And I'm scared the way that the world's going. It's just steered to the right that much in, a matter of 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable, mate. It really is.
What is happening is really quite remarkable, yes.
And the Canadian guy that was on there before, the Canadian, I was there in the Army hours a few times. I had the privilege of going out to Canada, doing various exercises.
Yeah.
In Bathurst. Any squaddies listening, they'll know what Bathurst is. Basically, it just stands for British Army Training Unit in Suffield, which is a place near a town called Medicine Hat. It was an old Indian reservation.
Not Medicine Head, because they did a song called 1 and 1 is 1. And I'm going to say 1974. I bet that's correct. I do recall watching them on Top of the Pops, Medicine Head, and I rushed out and bought their album.
No, this was Hotel Alpha Tango, Medicine Hat.
Hat. Hotel Alpha Tango.
It was based on an old Indian reservation in Canada, which is called, there's a town there called Medat. That's basically what we call it. Yes, mate. No, the world's not going in a good place. It's not being steered in the right way at the moment, is it?
No, it really isn't. Somebody has lost the map, and we're driving blind. Yeah.
That sounds like an officer getting out of a map in the army, that does, because like, if you give an officer a map, you're definitely guaranteed to get lost.
I don't know. That's the kind of thing that would get you court-martialed, isn't it, Gary? Isn't that the kind of thing that you're not supposed to say about officer class?
Oh, well, it would do, but I've been out now for nearly 25 years.
Right. So
I can say what I want now, really, within reason, because I meet up with most of them all the time.
Right. Well,
we're out next week, in actual fact. I'm out with a couple of majors, a lieutenant colonel.
Well,
and,
I wouldn't tell them what you've just told me.
Oh, no, they'll be telling me worse, believe me, Nick, honestly. Yeah, no, it's great. Well, it's not great, is it? I mean, the world is absolutely... It's gone horrendous at the moment.
Yes, it's going through a moment. There's no doubt about that. But if we try and ignore it, maybe it'll go away. I don't know. Is that a plan? Thanks, Gary. Hotel Alpha Tango. Simon says, I work in a call centre for the transport department here in Perth, and whenever a call comes in and I greet and there's no one there, I'm so tempted to say what you say when a caller doesn't respond. Too late. Yes. Yeah, that'd be annoying, because it's probably like a 3-hour wait just to get through to you, right? Christiana says, oh no, done that. El Salvador, Venezuela, Rolex, got there. Carl says, sailing on their ego trips, blast off on their spaceships, million miles from reality, no care for you, no care for me. Bob Marley.
Rock and roll!
Quoting Bob Marley. Hackney, hello, Richard.
Hello, Nick. Did you notice that when Vance and Trump had that big ding-dong with Zelensky,
yeah,
Zelensky was the only one in the room not wearing makeup?
Yes. Yeah.
Which I kind of think tells you how it's going. But I'm just calling because you were talking about Trump's religious advisors.
Yeah.
And you've just said that you've got, if you can't think of anything else, that proves there is no God.
Yes.
And I'm thinking you don't need another foreign correspondent. You need a spiritual advisor.
Oh, finally.
And I think I've got just the person. You've probably still got him on final, but have you spoken to your Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ?
Oh no!
Recently, Nick?
I forgot what
I'm here to tell you.
Yes. I forgot what that guy's name is. What's his name? Let's not encourage him. Nick, have you heard the word of the Lord? That guy.
We need Ken back.
No.
Ken, where are you?
No, we do not need Ken back.
Look, I know you tell your assistant every time you see his name on the screen, get the big red marker and cross it out.
Yeah. No,
I don't think it's work.
I have not seen his name on my screen for a good long while. I'd actually forgotten about his existence entirely. Thanks a lot, Richard.
Well, welcome back, Ken. We need you.
No, stay away. We don't. Don't listen to him. Thanks for that. No thanks for that. Paddy says, wow, I'm experiencing major deja vu with your show this evening. And the next text says, is from Paddy. It says, wow, I'm experiencing major deja vu with your show this evening. And Christina says, this is my Easter fireplace. And there's a picture, and it's got bunnies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to my count. Not real bunnies. They look like they're made out of china. And there's little eggs on a string, which could be lights, little coloured eggs. No chocolate. Can't see any chocolate. Surely some mistake, Christina. Needs work. Now, I didn't get through all of the messages. I will do my best to get through them tonight. But if you missed any of today's show, you can listen back on Catch Up on Global Player. Actually, what you want to do is go to Global Player and ask for Nick Abbott, The Whole Show Podcast. We take the news and most of the ads out, mostly, which means it's quicker to listen to, which will give you more time to decorate your Easter hearth. 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 Your Easter hearth.